The Case of the Restless Redhead is the premiere episode of the CBS television series Perry Mason, adapted from the 1954 novel of the same title by Erle Stanley Gardner. This episode marked the beginning of Raymond Burr's long-running portrayal of the famous lawyer. Red-headed Sherrington café waitress Evelyn Bagby comes home to her room number 220 Villa Espana apartment one night and is shocked to find a gun, which she'd never seen before, in her cigarette box, which is next to her lighter and ashtray sitting on the table. Having once been accused, then acquitted, of stealing jewelry at a motel in Riverside from Helene Chaney, a famous movie star, Evelyn calls defense attorney Perry Mason to ask for his advice. He advises her to leave her apartment and check into a hotel in Hollywood for the night. He also tells her to be at his office at 10 o'clock in the morning and to bring that gun. As she drives to Hollywood near the Sunset Canyon, a driver with a white hood over his head tries to force her off the road. Panicking, she fires the gun twice in his direction, causing him to drive off the road. Evelyn brings the gun to Mason's office and tells him what had happened. Mason calls private investigator Paul Drake and tell him to trace the gun and to find out where it was purchased. The gun was a .38 Colt snub nose, serial number 17474 LW. Mason goes to the scene of the crime and finds that Sergeant Holcomb of the Homicide Police is already there. The hooded driver was killed by a bullet to the head. As Mason is getting a match to light his cigarette, he notices a white pillowcase with Villa Espana inscribed on the pillowcase. The body is identified as a man named Harry Merrill, who is also known as Lester Gladden, who had cheated Evelyn out of $1,500 when she first came to Hollywood. And there's no bullet hole in the man's hood, which turns out to be a pillowcase from the apartment house where Evelyn lives. Mason now goes back to his office. Paul Drake comes in and tells Mason the gun is registered to Mervyn Aldridge. In fact, when he purchased the gun in Riverside, he actually purchased two guns with the same make and caliber. Police Lieutenant Tragg enters Mason's office. Tragg refused to believe her story, and she's arrested for murder. After a great many twists and turns, including Mason using an identical gun to fire two bullets into a tree and a post at the crash site, Mason, with the help from private investigator Paul Drake, exposes the true killer in the courtroom as Mason and District Attorney Hamilton Berger battle out their case. In the end, Mason wins, and Evelyn is cleared of all charges against her. Perry Mason, The Case of the Restless Redhead, was directed by William D. Russell. It was produced by Ben Brady, Gail Patrick Jackson, and Sam White. This episode was first aired on September 21st, 1957. Perry Mason's regular cast members are as follows: Raymond Burr as Perry Mason, Barbara Hale as Della Street, William Hopper as Paul Drake, Ray Collins as Lieutenant Tragg, William Tallman as Hamilton Berger. For this episode, the guest appearances are as follows: Whitney Blake as Evelyn Bagby, Jane Buchanan as Mrs. Bowles, Ralph Clanton as Mervyn Aldridge, Gloria Henry as Helene Chaney, Norman Lovett as Mr. Redfield, Helen Mahan as Mary Thompson, Grandin Rhodes as Judge Kippen, Dick Rich as Sergeant Holcomb, and Vaughn Taylor as Mr. Bowles. Thank you for watching Perry Mason, The Case of the Restless Redhead. If you would like to see the show notes, I have them listed below in the description. If you would like to purchase any Perry Mason DVDs, I have the Amazon link in the description below this video. Check out these TV mystery trivia videos.